Yes, it is Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's January 29th, 2018, presented as always by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab to find this show. A bunch of great articles there as well. Of course, you can search the Marijuana Times on YouTube to find the show. And the same goes for the audio version of the show on Apple Podcasts today. Talking about Oklahoma's medical marijuana program. And delving a little deeper into the issue of how this quick rollout of medical marijuana in Oklahoma came about. Also, weed delivery in California and CBD suppositories. That's right. You heard me correctly. All of that coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News. Whoops, that's the wrong picture. Cannabis News is not brought to you by that story. It's brought to you by Natureside. Nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you check out Natureside. Whatever you are growing, if you're growing cannabis in a state where it's legal, there's probably banned pesticides, those regulations you need to comply with. You can do all of these things with Natureside. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals. No matter what you're growing, accomplish all of these things with Natureside. Nature-side.com. Proud sponsor of the show. As promised, this first story, try this again. What's behind Oklahoma's quick rollout of medical marijuana? We've talked a lot about Oklahoma, both in print. I've read some stories about, but a lot more on this show, all the way going back to June when medical marijuana was voted on and passed in Oklahoma, through the rocky start, through the incredibly quick rollout of just a few months and a functioning medical marijuana program and an industry developed out of nowhere in Oklahoma. Something that most other states just can't get it done. It's not something they even consider within the realm of possibility. So I went to the source. I wanted to find out more about this. So I was able to talk with Chip and Cynthia Paul of Oklahomans for Health. Oklahomans for Health were the people behind the medical marijuana law that was passed in Oklahoma. You see that story at marijuanatimes.org. And of course, as with every story I talk about on this show, it's linked in the description of this video. A little bit of what Chip said about a little bit of the history of the medical marijuana program. Oklahomans for Health was founded in 2014 by my wife, Cynthia, and I, and another gent. We petitioned the state in 2014 and were successful in building momentum and also changing the conversation in Oklahoma. We have a 90-day window. We petitioned again in 2016 and reached our signature threshold. We were denied the 2016 ballot due to a challenge by then Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, who's going on to other fame as a member of the Trump administration. We won that case in Oklahoma State Supreme Court and were awarded the ballot on June 26th, 2018. Of course, it passed with 57% of the vote despite fierce opposition and despite Oklahomans for Health and the pro-medical marijuana forces being vastly outspent by the opposition. Basically, Chip told me that there was strict deadlines in the law, strict triggers, and if the state didn't meet those, Oklahomans for Health was very vocal about the fact that they wouldn't hesitate to take legal action to make sure those deadlines were met. The deadlines were met. Obviously, that's one of the keys, as I say in the article, it's one of the keys to passing something that can be done in a relatively short period of time, especially for patients. You have to be unyielding. You have to have the deadlines, and it's easy to have the deadlines and have a strict rollout of a program, but to also get that passed in a quote-unquote red state against heavy odds is pretty incredible. We should be hearing more from Chip and Cynthia. Chip said he's kind of the idea of maybe being able to help other states bring about something similar. That's what has happened in Oklahoma. Is something that they're interested in. So hopefully that can come about, because I think some other states need help. Some 2, 3, maybe 4 years before medical marijuana is anywhere to be seen in some of these states. It's pretty incredible. PortlandMercury.com is where our next story comes from. Ding dong, weeds here. California legalizes home cannabis delivery. Yes, quite an interesting title, but an important story. Nonetheless, when California implemented their legalized recreational cannabis program, one thing that wasn't worked out was the possibility of home delivery service. Convenience factor of having a wide variety of lab-tested cannabis products brought to your home, allowing you to forego leaving the damn house, is one of the marvels of our modern age, according to Portland Mercury. This guy who was writing for Portland Mercury. Last week, California became the first and only state to legalize cannabis deliveries statewide, regardless of municipalities having laws in the books saying otherwise. In the state the size of California, this is beneficial not only for homebound or limited mobility medical cannabis patients, but for those for whom a trip to the dispensary may be an hour's drive or more each way. Absolutely, the delivery is absolutely going to be a part of future legalization. We live in the era of Amazon, and having marijuana delivered to your home via drone in the next decade or two, I don't think is outside the realm of possibility at all. As Rolling Stone reports, the rules involving home delivery were passed on January 16th and allowed both dispensaries and, quote, more than 100 state-licensed non-storefront delivery companies and their customers in so-called pot deserts, in other words, large areas of geographical land where dispensaries aren't allowed. They've been barred. Retail shops have been barred, creating a quote-unquote pot desert. Delivery vehicles may only carry a maximum of $5,000 worth of cannabis at any time. It must be free of markings which indicate they're transporting weed to reduce the risk of theft or other crime, which is probably smart. Drive around the big weed mascot on your car. Will draw maybe some unwanted attention. I don't know. It could be. It's the last story from Forbes.com. Speaking of unwanted attention, CBD suppositories are the next marijuana product craze, but do they make sense? And yes, for those of you listening to the audio version of this episode, but is spelled B-U-T-T. It's really, they really shoehorned that pun in there. I mean, they did. It was unnecessary, and I could go on. The puns are limitless, and I don't want to get started because this would be a 45-minute show. So anyway, this whole story is about this guy, Mike Adams, contributor for Forbes, getting an inquiry from a publicity firm as to whether or not he would be interested in sampling a new line of CBD suppositories. I get inquiries like this a lot from companies, but sadly no CBD suppositories as of yet. Hint, hint. For those of you who are not aware of what this product actually is, it is a delivery method for medicine in which the user inserts rocket-shaped capsules into their rectum rather than relying on conventional dosing methods like pills or liquids. Doing this, the drug hits the bloodstream quicker and in most cases even provides stronger effects than if it was consumed by the end with teeth. That would be orally for those of you having trouble keeping up. I can't imagine what emergency would cause me to need CBD suppositories. I mean, if a gummy is going to take a little longer to work and not work as well, I mean, life is full of trade-offs. You have to decide just how quick and effective you need your CBD to be. Of course, suppositories have been around for decades, used by patients searching for fast relief from a variety of conditions, ranging from constipation to extreme pain. There's only one real downside to these little boogers. A person must violate the age-old exit-only rule before receiving any benefit. Again, the puns go on and on and on. Also, there's quite a few clever pictures in the article if you want to check out Forbes, or the link in the description of this video. He tells a story, a suppository story. It's really, there's a picture. Go do yourself a favor. Go click the link and look through the story. It's rather long, which is impressive for a story about CBD suppositories to get that kind of space covered with the CBD suppository story in Forbes, no less. That is pretty impressive. Thanks, everybody, for checking out Cannabis News. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting on these videos, spreading the truth about cannabis with this show. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Of course, click the video tab Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.